بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. مطبوعات عزیز افغانستان و مطبوعات بین‌المللی به شمول مطبوعات امریکا، بسیار خوش آمدین به پرس کنفرانس امروز ما و از همه شما معذرت می‌خواهیم که از صبح تا به حال را انتظار گشتین و لطف کردین، حوصله کردین. بسیار خرسند هستم که امروز جناب محترم جان کری وزیر خارجه امریکا را دوباره با خود در کابل داریم. اینها دیروز تشریف آوردند تا ما و اینها صحبت خود در مورد رابطه افغانستان و امریکا و خاصتا در مورد پیمان امنیتی افغانستان و امریکا صحبت کنیم. اینا میباشین، اینا لطف کردن وقت کافی را به همراه ما گذراندند و ملاقات های امشب و فردای خدا که در مورد شرق میانه بود به تعویق انداختند تا ما بتونیم که بحث مفصل تری بکنیم و هر دو جانب به نتایج دلخواه خود به اساس منافع ملی هر دو کشور برسیم. خواهرای برادرای عزیز، خبر داریم که بعد از امضای پیمان استراتژیک بحث میان افغانستان و امریکا روی قرارداد امنیتی آغاز شد. یک بحث مشکلی بود. افغانستان دیدگاه و منافع خود داشت، امریکا دیدگاه و منفعت خود داشت. از دید افغانستان و منفعت افغانستان، حاکمیت ملی افغانستان در رأس مسائل قرار داشت. احترام به حاکمیت ملی افغانستان در رأس مسائل قرار داشت. تجربه 10 سال ما متاسفانه در راستا تجربه خوشی نبوده. ملت افغانستان به نام جنگ علیه تروریسم تلفات ملکی دیدن، خانه های مردم افغانستان آسیب دید و موارد نقض حاکمیت ملی افغانستان به وجود آمد که باعث اعتراض حکومت افغانستان و مردم افغانستان شد. پس در قرارداد امنیتی برای ما مهمترین موضوع تضمین درست و محکم و غیر قابل تغییر و تخلف حاکمیت ملی افغانستان بود. به همراهش به اهمیت مساوی و از لحاظ عاطفی بیشتر و ضروریتر مسئولیت زندگی و جان و مال مردم افغانستان بود که هم به دست تروریسم و هم در جنگ علیه تروریسم توسط نیروهای خارجی مردم ما زیر ضربات شدیدی آمدند. فقط 15 روز پیش یک دخترک خردسال افغان از ولایت کنر ما در شفاخانه دیدن رفتم که هر دو چشمش از بین رفته بود. دختر 4.5 ساله، رویش صورتش نبود، یک دستش هم نبود و تمام فامیلش از بین رفته بود. این در عملیات نظامی نیروهای خارجی شده بود. ملت افغانستان به هر قیمتی که شده میخواه ضمانت داشته باشه که همچین تخلف از زندگی و جان مال و طفلای وطن ما دوباره صورت نمیگیره و تحت هیچ بهانه نیروهای خارجی خانه های مردم افغانستان زیر حمله زمینی و یا هوایی نمیگیرند. مسئله سوم تجاوز بر افغانستان بود. در پیمان استراتژیک به امریکا متعهد به حمایت از افغانستان در صورت تجاوز بر افغانستان شده. ولی دیدیم که بعد از امضای پیمان استراتژیک از طرف یک از همسایه های ما بر افغانستان شلیک توپ و راکت و گلوله شد، مگر از جانب امریکا حتی پذیرفته نشد که همچون تخلفی صورت گرفته بود. پس بر ما تعریف تجاوز مهم بود تا فهم مشابه هر دو جانب از تجاوز داشته باشیم. تجاوز به معنای آمدن تانک و توپ خارجی به افغانستان است و یا تجاوز همچنین فرستادن تروریست و انتحار و بم و مین است. چهارم، منع خودسری های نیروهای خارجی در افغانستان بود تا نیروهای امریکا و متحدینشان در افغانستان اجازه عملیات خودسر را نداشته باشند. مسئله که از سالها به این طرف حکومت افغانستان و شخص خودم با قوت‌هایی که به افغانستان برای مبارزه علیه تروریسم و امنیت کشورهای خودشان آمدن درگیر بودیم و باعث تشنج شدید در کشور ما شد بین ما و اینها. در این موارد که حاکمیت ملی افغانستان باشه، تعریف تجاوز باشه، تلفات ملکی مردم افغانستان باشه و منع خودسری های نیروهای خارجی در افغانستان باشه، بعد از یک مذاکره دوامدار چندین ماهه و مذاکره شدید و دوامدار دیروز، امروز صبح و تا به شام ما به یک سلسله توافقات رسیدیم که در توافقات امریکا دیگه از خودسری های نظامی در افغانستان منع شد. ضمانتی داده شد کتبی برای حفظ جان و مال خانه مردم افغانستان. در مورد تجاوز تعریف مشخص ارائه شد که مورد قبول ما شد. حاکمیت ملی ما تحصیلی شد که احترام میشه و عزت میشه و به هیچ عنوان تخلف از او صورت نمیگیره. سند امنیتی که امروز روش بحث کردیم موارد زیادی دیگر هم داره. یو موردی پدی که د خارجي قواو مسئولیت دی. په دې مسله کې موږ واحد نظر نه لرو او د خارجي قواو مسئولیت د افغانستان د حکومت تر صلاحیت لوړه خبره ده. لہذا په دې کې مو بحث ورسره ونه کوي او فیصله مو په دې مورد کې خصوصا د افغانستان د خلکو ولوی جرګې ته پرېښول. ټول سند په ټولو موارد کې د افغانستان د خلکو تایید ته ځي د جرګې لخوا او بیا د ولسي جرګې او سنا لخوا، خو د مسؤلیت مسله په ډېره خاصه توګه د افغانستان د حکومت د سالت څخه د باندې خبره ده او دا به د افغانستان د خلکو و جرګې ته ارائه کیږي. د سند نور اجزا دي چې په عمومي توګه توافق پر سوی دی او کتل سوی دی، خو ما دا سند په تیرو درو شپو کې په غټو مواردو مهمو ملي مواردو کې لیدلی دي چې د مخې م درته بیان کړل، او هغه نور تخنیکي جزئیات مې لوستي نه دي چې سبا بل سبا او په آینده ورځو کې به یې لولم، او سند به ارائه کیږي د افغانستان د ملي امنیت شورا ته سبا د خیر او کابینې ته، او د افغانستان د مشرانو د ولسي جرګې نظر به پرې غوښتل کیږي، او بیا به د افغانستان د خلکو و جرګې ته تسلیمیږي چې فیصله پر وکړي. که هغوی تایید کړي نو به ځي د افغانستان ولسي جرګې ته د قانوني او رسمي تایید لپاره. چې خبره په لنډو الفاظو بیان کړم، موږ په دې سند کې پر ملي حاکمیت، د ملکي تلفاتو د نه پیښېدو پر مسله، د تجاوز پر تعریف او د خودسریو د خارجي قواو د خودسریو د منع کېدو پر مسله کې توافقاتو ته سره ورسېدو. د خارجي عسکرو او قواو د مسؤلیت په حصه کې بحث اوږد ونه سو، ځکه چې خبره واضح وه چې هغه به د افغانستان د خلکو جرګه فیصله کوي، نو سند به ټوله د افغانستان جرګې ته وړاندې کیږي او جرګه به بحث کوي، خصوصا د مسؤلیت مسله. د امریکې د حکومت او د خلکو د کومکو څخه د مرستو څخه چې افغانستان سره کړي دي، او په افغانستان کې د تعلیم او د ژوندانه د صحي مواردو او نورو مواردو د بهبود باعث شوي دي، مننه کوو. خو هیله مو دا ده چې د دې مننې او تشکر سره سره به امنیتي سند د افغانستان او امریکې ترمنځ قرارداد، امنیتي قرارداد کله چې جرګه تایید کړي نو به افغانستان ته هغه را په برخه کې چې په دا 10 کالو کې نه درلودله، چې هغه د افغانستان د خلکو د ژوند مسؤلیت دی او د حاکمیت ملي عزت دی. په دې هیله به سند د افغانستان جرګې ته وړاندې کړو او د ښاغلي وزیر خارجه څخه محترم جان کیری څخه او د امریکې د حکومت د خلکو څخه مننه کوو. هیله مو دا ده چې د دې سند په راتلو سره امریکا او افغانستان په حقیقت کې ملګري شي، په حقیقت کې. مننه. تشکر.
Well, Mr. President, thank you very, very much. Thank you, first of all, for your generous hospitality, as always. We appreciate it enormously. And I don't know who could produce a setting like this, which is really very, very beautiful. As we walked over here, the President informed me that some of these trees are probably more than 300 years old, maybe more?
Maybe more.
Maybe more. So it's a privilege to stand in a place that reminds us all about the history of Afghanistan, the durability, and really the importance of what we are trying to achieve here. I thank the President for his serious effort over these last hours, late last night, all today, we have been discussing and we have been negotiating. And as the President said, these are not easy negotiations because they involve issues of life and death, issues of the future of a country, issues of emotions, and a history, particularly the kinds of things the President talked about a young woman without a face. And indeed, there have been horrible things that have happened to people in the course of war. Too many Afghans have lost their lives. Too many Afghans have been subject to terrible violence. And the United States hopes and prays and looks forward to the day that Afghanistan can be free from that violence and that the people of Afghanistan will be free to move around and live their lives with full respect for their sovereignty and for their nationhood, for who they are as a people. The people of Afghanistan are a brave people, a capable people, and the United States has only respect for what the people of Afghanistan have been through and how difficult these years have been. We also know that there are young men in hospitals in America and women who are still recovering from their wounds. And there are too many who have been buried in cemeteries in America because they came over here to help make a difference for this country and for the world, to fight terrorism and to fight to give an opportunity for Afghanistan's future to blossom in its full sovereignty with the full opportunities that people need and deserve. We are proud of the fact that in the years that we have been here, in cooperation with President Karzai and the government, much has changed for the better. When we came here, there were maybe 1 million children in school, most of them boys. Today, there are 8 million, and perhaps 40% of them are young girls. When we came here, only 9% of the people in Afghanistan had access to health care. Today, 60% of the people in this country have access to health care. When we came here, the life expectancy of Afghans was 20 years younger than today. It has grown by 20 years. There are many changes that are positive, even as there have been great difficulties. We want a different relationship. President Obama wants the United States to work in partnership with Afghanistan. And nothing would please us more or serve American interests more than to see an Afghanistan free and independent without the need for support from America or any other country. I know that's what President Karzai wants. That's what we want. And I believe that in the last 24 hours, as we have worked hard at these issues that really have been negotiated over now for more than 11 months, that we have resolved in these last 24 hours the major issues that the President went through. We have resolved those issues. And we have put ourselves in a position for an enduring partnership going forward in the years ahead, providing that the political process of Afghanistan accepts that. We respect completely the President's need, the President's right, the Afghan people's need to approve of whatever agreement might come forward. We are pleased that the agreement that we have put together now is in a place where it can be submitted to a lawyer jerker, where it will now go through the appropriate political process of the President reviewing it and submitting it with his security cabinet, with his various, with the Parliament and others as is necessary. But I need to make very clear that the one issue that is outstanding, which is an issue that we call an issue of jurisdiction, in our judgment, there is no immunity in this agreement. Anybody who were to do anything will be subject to law. But the question of jurisdiction is an appropriate one for the President to submit to the Loya Jirga, and we have high confidence that the people of Afghanistan will see the benefits that exist in this agreement. But we need to say that if the issue of jurisdiction cannot be resolved, then, unfortunately, there cannot be a bilateral security agreement. So we hope that that will be resolved, and it's up to the Afghan people, as it should be. What we have achieved in this agreement addresses the fundamental questions the President has raised about aggression, about support, about, most importantly, the protection of Afghan people in their homes, in their lives. We respect completely, and President Obama supports and is committed to the principles that the President of Afghanistan has laid out in order to protect the people of Afghanistan. People deserve to know that in their homes and in their lives, they can be free from interference and free from violence, and we believe in that. What has happened in this moment is important. It is a moment where the United States willingly and happily is able to work in partnership with our Afghan friends and transfer to the Afghan forces the full responsibility for the defense of Afghanistan as we near the end of 2014, and we will be in a very different position here, happily for the President, the government, and the people of Afghanistan. We will not be conducting combat operations. We will be engaged in training, assisting, and equipping the Afghan forces who will defend their country. And I think the President and the people of Afghanistan welcome that. So in the agreements that we have reached here, we have, in fact, arrived at a point where we know with certainty how we can proceed down the road to fully guaranteeing the opportunities that the Afghan people want for their future. We will have a respect that the President wants in a definitive way for the sovereignty of Afghanistan and for the people of Afghanistan. And over the coming year, the Afghan people will be assuming greater and greater responsibility. We welcome that. And we say very simply that this agreement, if it is finally approved, will cement a relationship of cooperation, a relationship where the government of Afghanistan is fully independent and sovereign in making its decisions, and the United States and those other friends who join in this effort will be helping and working in cooperation. In addition, we will be following along the lines of what was agreed in Tokyo and in Chicago in terms of assistance, which will be important in order to sustain the development and the growth that has so characterized what has happened even in the midst of war. The bilateral security agreement also provides the foundation for us to be able to work together against terrorism, against those who wish to harm us or our partners, our interests, and the region. And that is vital to both Americans and to Afghans. But let me underscore that nothing, neither this agreement, when completed, nor the assistance that we provide, nothing can replace the commitment and energy of the Afghan people to be defining their own future. So, it is clear through this agreement, in addressing each of the concerns President Karzai has raised, that President Obama and the American people believe in the people of Afghanistan. We are excited about the way the President and his government have put in place the workings of a new election. The election law, the registration of candidates are all a great success. And we look forward to not picking any candidates, not being involved in the election, not in any way affecting it, but only to helping in any way that Afghanistan wants us to for this election to work effectively, free, fair, accessible, transparent, and accountable. This is an enormous transition. It's an historic moment for this country, and we are proud and pleased to be able to work at being part of it. The United States believes firmly that lasting security and prosperity in a unified Afghanistan and an independent Afghanistan, whose people and sovereignty are respected, will take root when the people's voice is heard in the course of this election. And this will be, this will be a great legacy for President Karzai, who has led his country during these very, very difficult times. So, Mr. President, I'm very, very grateful to you, as always, your friendship, your warm welcome, the serious way in which you and your team have really come at the difficult issues that we had to work on in the last few days. And we look forward to the technical review process that you will undergo, we will likewise undergo. And I am confident that in this agreement, we have laid the foundation for all of the issues that you listed to be addressed and for the future success of your country and our friendship. Thank you, my friend.
Wonderful. Most welcome. Most welcome. خب چون ډیر ناوخته دی داسې به وکړو چې صرف دوه سواله به انتخاب کړو. اول سوال به د امریکې محترم خارجه وزیر انتخاب کړي، دوم به زه انتخاب کړم. Secretary Kerry, it's your call.
If I'm picking first, Leslie Rutten.
It's not on. Oh. Leslie Roughton from Reuters. Mr. Secretary, you said that there's no deal without addressing the issue of immunity. How does one then proceed with this, and what kinds of concessions do you need from each other to close this deal? The same for you, President Karzai. What do you need for this? If the US doesn't seal this deal, if this immunity issue is still outstanding, how do you see this relationship going forward? The other question I have for the Secretary.
That's all right, as I cough away.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
The other question I have, so I'm dealing with the immunity. The second question is, what faith, this is for the Secretary, what faith does it show in Afghan sovereignty when the US snatches a Taliban commander from Afghan hands? When you were so close to a deal? To the President, how can Afghanistan stand for this kind of operation? Does it undermine you just when you're trying to agree on issues of counterterrorism and security issues?
Well, let me, Leslie, let me begin by, first of all, politely correcting the premise of your question about something called immunity. There is no immunity. There is no question of immunity. If an American who is part of any expeditionary force under agreement from the Afghan government were to violate any law, as we have in the past, we will continue to prosecute to the full measure of that law, and any perpetrator of any incident, crime, anything will be punished. There is no immunity. Let me make that clear. No immunity. And we have proven in many cases unfortunately, too many instances that when somebody has violated the law, they have paid the price. And there are people in prison today in the United States of America who have paid that price. Secondly, with respect to the jurisdiction issue, we have great respect for the Afghan sovereignty, and we will respect it completely. And that is laid out in this agreement. But where we have forces in any part of the world, and we unfortunately have them in a number of places in the world, in Japan, in Korea, in Europe, in other parts of the world, Africa, wherever our forces are found, they operate under the same standard. We are not singling out Afghanistan for any separate standard. We are defending exactly what the Constitution and the laws of the United States require. Now, we completely respect that the President should decide appropriately that this issue ought to be decided in his loya jirga. We absolutely, that's the best of democracy. We embrace that. But there are realities that if it isn't resolved, we can't send our forces in places because we don't subject United States citizens to that kind of uncertainty with respect to their rights and lives. There's no comment on any other country. It's nothing negative. It's an historical tradition and something that exists everywhere in the world. So that is a very important principle. Now, the President has expressed his concerns. He's been honest with us and upfront about it. But he understands that the other issues that we have resolved in this important agreement are important, and that we have worked hard in good faith to resolve them. And so his consultative process will go to work, and the United States will respect that process as we should. With respect to counterterrorism activities and the apprehension of an individual, we followed the normal procedures that the United States follows in our agreement. We regret that this circumstance took place in some ways that some folks, apparently the chain of communication didn't go as far, but we did what we are supposed to do under the agreement. Now, I'm not going to discuss the details, except to tell you that this individual is responsible for the loss of lives, not just here in Afghanistan, but has plotted against the United States, has association with other major plots to injure many people, and is a serious terrorist. And so we will work with the government, as we have said. We will absolutely work with the government of Afghanistan to cooperate so that the appropriate process flows out of this to respect their interests and respect their sovereignty. But this was a normal counterterrorism procedure according to the standards that we've been operating by for a long period of time.
Ma'am, as I said in my introductory remarks, the whole document will go before the Afghan loya jirga for their consideration and consultation. And if it is approved, it will go to the Afghan parliament for the formal approval of relevant state institutions. The issue of jurisdiction is one such issue that is beyond the authority of the Afghan government, and it is only and entirely up to the Afghan people to decide upon through two mechanisms. One is the traditional loya jirga of Afghanistan. The second is the constitutional mechanism, which is the Afghan parliament. On the issue of seizing a Taliban commander by the US forces in Afghanistan, This is an issue that we have raised in earnest with the United States in the past few days, as we have on all other previous occasions of such arrests in which the Afghan laws were disregarded, which we do consider a violation of Afghan sovereignty. And therefore, our discussion today in particular has been focused on making sure that through the bilateral security agreement, we make sure that such violations are not repeated. This is an issue of extreme importance to the Afghan people, and it is an issue that the Afghan people will demand in very clear, vivid manifestation from their government to make sure is ours, meaning sovereignty.
Good. I think you.
تشکر جناب رئیس جمهور. ما تشریف آوری آقای جان کری وزیر خارجه امریکا را به افغانستان خوش آمدید میگم و سوال ما مشخصا خدمت شما است که در نتیجه مذاکرات بسیار جدی که در 2 روز گذشته با جانب آمریکایی داشتین، آیا با مردم افغانستان اطمینان داده میتونین که پس از امضای این موافقتنامه امریکا دست به عملیات خودسرانه در افغانستان نمیزنه و مسئولیت مردم افغانستان تضمین میشه؟ یک مسئله. و شما چگونه یک تعریفی برای تجاوز یافتین در نتیجه از این مذاکرات و تروریسمی که از پاکستان به قول شما با لباس افغانی وارد افغانستان میشه، بر از این شما چگونه یک تعریف دارین؟ و مسئله سوم، وزیر خارجه فدراتیو روسیه سرگی لاوروف به نقل از این گفته شده که برخی گروه‌های مشخص شورشی از کشور سوریه در افغانستان ترینینگ داده میشن در قسمت آموزش سلاح‌های شیمیایی. نظر شما و واکنش شما در قبال از این مسئله چی هست؟ تشکر.
در مورد امنیت مردم افغانستان، در مورد امنیت زندگیشان، عزت زندگی خانوادگیشان و مسئولیت کامل خانه و ماحول زندگیشان، همه ما آگاه هستیم که از چندین سال به این طرف بین ما و قوت‌های امریکا و ناتو بحث بوده و همین مسئله زندگی و امنیت مردم افغانستان و اطمینان حاصل کردن به ای که خانه مردم افغانستان نه به نام جنگ علیه تروریسم و یا به هیچ بهانه دیگه مورد تجاوز قرار نمیگیره، باعث تشنج بین ما بوده. پس تلفات ملکی در افغانستان از اقدامات اول حکومت افغانستان بوده که رفع شود و ملت افغانستان از این رنج رهایی یابند. نه دیروز و امروز، بلکه از آغاز مذاکرات استراتژیک با آمریکا در مورد پیمان استراتژیک و پیش از او و بعد از امضای پیمان استراتژیک در مورد مذاکرات قرارداد امنیتی تا امروز بحث اول مسئله ما بوده و تأکید اول ما بوده. قسمی که عرض کردم، حاکمیت ملی افغانستان، امنیت مردم افغانستان، مسئولیت خانه های مردم افغانستان، احترام به فرهنگ مردم افغانستان، تعریف تجاوز، اینها مسائلی بودند که ما خصوصاً در 2 روز گذشته با جناب محترم وزیر خارجه آمریکا بحث بسیار طویل و عمیق داشتیم و خوشحال هستم که امروز خدمت شما عرض کنم که در این موارد ما ضمانت‌هایی را گرفتیم که درج سند کردیم و خصوصا در مورد تجاوز تعریفی را حاصل کردیم که مورد قناعت ما هست. این تعریف بازپسان از طریق مطبوعات میتونیم که این را پیش از جرگه میتونیم بیانیم ولی میتونیم که در خدمت شما بگذاریم. در مورد ای که آیا این ضمانت ها در عمل پیاده میشن یا نه، طبیعی است که دولت افغانستان بسیار محتاط و با محکم کاری پیش میره، چون ما گذشته ای داریم و از او گذشته خود پند گرفتیم. لحاظا افغانستان و حکومتش در این مورد بسیار با محکم کاری پیش میره و هیچ پناهگاهی برای تخلف نخواهد بود. ما هیچ قوتی به شمول امریکا، اگر اینها میخوان با ما متحد باشن، این اتحاد باید به تمام معنا مسئولیت زندگی، احترام به حاکمیت ملی و امنیت مردم ما را فراهم کنه. و این ما تا به حال در سند گرفتیم. راههای عملیش باز به قوت حکومت ما تعلق داره و به که دوستای ما با ما از راه نیت نیک و مساوات روابط و نیکی روابط پیش برن. به نفع خودشان هم است. لاوروف محترم وزیر خارجه روس دیروز اظهاراتی داشتند در موردی که باقیای سوریه در افغانستان در جاهایی که زیر تسلط دولت افغانستان نیست، به گمان ما گفتن تربیت مواد شیمیایی میشن که البته یک مسئله نهایت مهم به افغانستان و سلامت کشور ماست. در این مورد هم دولت افغانستان اقدام میکنه و هم از متحدین ما که اینجا برای جنگ علیه تروریسم آمدن ما سوالهای خواهیم داشت تا وضاحت‌های پیدا کنیم. اینا هم رفته نیستن، ما هم رفته نیستیم. با سبا بخیر ما شما تکرار با هم میشینیم. اینا باید خود برسانن به ملاقاتاشون که از 2 روز به این طرف معطل شده. تشکر. من میفهمم که سوالای بسیار مهم دارین ولی باز با هم میشینیم.
I unfortunately, I apologize. I have to get on a plane and leave, and I apologize because we would like to stay longer. I just want to say that I agree with what the President said with respect to sovereignty. We will work at that.
Good.
We believe we have defined it in this agreement, and we're feeling very positive and excited about the possibilities from this agreement. Final comment, Mr. President. Tonight, the Boston Red Sox, you know who they are?
Yes.
That's our baseball team.
It's a baseball team.
They're going to play for the American League Championship in Boston, and we want some of your cricket team and soccer team luck to go with me, okay?
Wish you all the best of luck there.
No, wish them, Boston Red Sox.
Well, that's your team, I believe.
My team.